All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming out. My name is Matt. I'm a public services librarian here at the Palos Heights Public Library. And we are doing this program in a hybrid model, which means I have a bunch of fine people online on Zoom with me. Hello. And I have some people here in the room with me. So thanks everyone for coming out. We will be going through talking about all this stuff. It can be confusing. So if you have any questions, you can pop them into the chat on Zoom. And if you don't know where the chat is, depending on where your row of icons is, either along the bottom or top of your screen, you should see a button that says chat. If you don't, all the way to the right-hand side, there should be an icon that's 3 little dots with the word more under it. And if you click on that, then chat should be the first thing you see. So yeah, feel free, and I will from time to time pause for questions. All right. So we begin with a disclaimer, which is that all of this information is good as of right now. This stuff is changing a lot recently. It seems day by day there's a new announcement about either a new pricing structure or some new streaming services coming or some streaming services going away. So as of right now, this is good. All right, so the agenda, we'll talk about terminology for the different kinds of devices and technologies we'll be talking about. Then we will get into the different kinds of devices, the smart TVs, the external streaming boxes, some other kind of associated things you might want to look into. And then we'll talk about the streaming services themselves. You know, once you have a smart TV or one of these streaming boxes, what do you do with it? We will get to that. So with that in mind, let's begin with terminology. So what is a smart TV? It's a TV, or you could also say it's a standalone device plugged into a TV that allows you to download different channels to stream TV shows, movies, and sports from the internet. So it's different from cable in that it could possibly be the same content, just coming from somewhere else. We'll be talking about interfaces, which is what you see on the screen, how you navigate to the different channels and everything like that. We'll be talking about terms like resolution, HD, high definition, 1080p, 4K, and that is means the quality and fidelity of the screen's image. So we will learn more about that. Now, one requirement for having a smart TV or using streaming services is you do need the internet. So a home internet connection is required, as well as Wi-Fi, because your smart TV device will connect via Wi-Fi to the internet. So that is step one. And now we will talk about kinds of devices. So the first one is a smart TV set. And this these days is pretty much mostly what you'll find in a store. So it has everything you need built right in. That means that it's the kind of TV where you can go and download the different streaming services to it. You don't need an external box. The menu on the TV will have an option for watching cable TV, but there will also be an option in the menu to go into apps or whatever they happen to call it, depending on what kind of brand you have. Some TV brands have their own proprietary software. That means they've developed it on their own, and they are using their own stuff. That's something like your LG, your Samsung, your Sony, and others have licensed their technology out. So Sharp and Toshiba, they say we don't want to spend money to develop our own software. We're going to pay Roku or we're going to pay Amazon to use the software they have already developed and put that into our TV, which all just leads me to say a lot of this stuff, depending on what brand of thing you have, it's going to be different. It's going to look different. I have included some screenshots of some of these differences, but by and large, everything will have a way to navigate to different channels, and you know, it is fairly intuitive, hopefully. All right, moving on. Some common brands of TVs you'll see these days are Element, Hisense, Insignia, LG, Samsung, Sharp, Sony, TCL, Toshiba, Vizio, and Westinghouse. Those are, by and large, what you'll see in stores, either in Best Buy, at Target, or online at Amazon or another place like that. And now we will talk about the different kinds of interfaces. So like I said, some people develop their own. This is an example of an LG and a Samsung interface. As you can see, there are a lot of little squares for different menu options. And excuse me. So there will always be a way, if you're using this on a built-in TV, to go to your actual cable connection if you have one, or use any of these other features that are built into it. So you can see they have different areas for things like Netflix, Hulu. There's Facebook on one of these. You can do different apps other than just getting TV. There are a lot of them link up to different photo areas. So if you have photos backed up to Google or Apple, you are able to link your TV to those accounts, and then if you want to access your photos on your TV, you can. These are yet more user interfaces, so you can see they're all just a little bit different, but in the end, they're usually just grids of little square icons that you can, navigate around and select what you want. We will get into more later on exactly how that is used and everything. So now we'll talk about the specs for TVs. These days, the most common screen sizes are 55 and 65 inches. That is not to say that there isn't anything smaller or bigger. It all depends on the size and what you need. You can easily get down to 30 inches these days. You can go up to over 100 inches. It just depends on your space. There is a scientific method for determining how far away you should be from a TV to get kind of the best view. If you are on a 1080p screen and have its 55-inch screen, you should sit 13.75 feet away from it. If it's a 55-inch 4K screen, 7 feet away. We will go into what those numbers mean a little later, but really, it doesn't matter all that much. You just get what fits in your budget, in your room, and by and large, you'll be good to go. And speaking of those numbers, 4K and 1080p, when people talk about those numbers, it's talking about the resolution of the TV, which means back in the old days, before the HD revolution, your picture would come in kind of what's called interlaced. So for one split nanosecond, there would be a bunch of lines going one way, and then the other nanosecond, there would be a bunch of lines going the other way, and they'd combine together to make the whole picture. These days, they just send out the whole picture without any of these lines, but they still use the lines to indicate how good the picture is, how detailed it is. So before HD, you could fit 480 lines on a TV. When HD came around, that was the 1080 resolution. So you could fit 1080 lines onto your TV, making it, a lot of actors at that time were like, whoa, wait a minute. I look suddenly not as good on HD because you can see my face better, right? Now what they have is 4K, which means 4,000 lines of on the TV, which gives you even more resolution, detail, all that kind of stuff. These days, when I first started doing this presentation a few years ago, 1080 was still kind of the norm. These days, I think just about every TV you'll see in a store is 4K. but 1080 is still perfectly fine. I think most content is still coming in 1080. And so if you have a 1080p set, that's fine. You don't need to go run out and upgrade it. It is perfectly fine. They are just starting to come out with 8K, which is the next big thing in TV resolution. It's super expensive. You don't really need it. Maybe in a few years, it'll be better. Just one moment, I'm gonna go give a handout here. All right. The other thing you'll want to do if you're buying a new TV, again, if you have an existing one that doesn't have this, it's fine. But if I was going to buy one today, I would look for something that is HDR compatible, as it says up there. HDR means high dynamic range, and it gives you brighter, more vibrant colors and more of a color range. And we will see in these, I don't know if you can tell from these screenshots, but it gives you kind of a side-by-side comparison of non-high dynamic range or HDR versus a picture with HDR. And you can see, the picture with HDR is just a little brighter, a little more vibrant. So it is good to have if you can, but if not, again, not really a big deal. You'll see when you're shopping for a TV, different screen technologies. Most these days are LED screens. It used to be plasma. That's not really a thing anymore. You'll usually see LED or OLED. LED, of course, stands for light emitting diode. OLED is organic light emitting diode. Those are the best, but you're going to pay, at least a few $100s more for an OLED screen. So it's really up to you. You can, in a store, look at the difference. If you want it, go for it. If not, again, it's okay. You will also see different refresh rates. A lot of TVs these days have 60 hertz refresh rates. Personally, I would recommend going with one that is at least 120 hertz. It gives you more realistic motion in the picture on the screen, and it's becoming more and more the thing. So check that out. As far as HDMI ports go, that is still kind of the gold standard for hooking things up to your TV. You want to look for one that has 3, maybe 4 if you have a lot of different devices. I know in my household we have, DVD player, Blu-ray player, a couple different gaming consoles. So those fill up pretty quickly. A lot of TVs come with just 2. I always say, it's best to get one with at least 3, just because you never know. All right. And on that note, I don't know if this is really going to come through for people on Zoom, but we'll give it a shot. This is Tom Cruise telling us about motion smoothing. So you'll see on a lot of new TVs these days, the picture will look kind of like real life. It doesn't have like the film grain, or it looks like a little too realistic. And so we'll see what Tom and his director here have to tell us.
Tom Cruise, obviously, and I'm Chris McCoy, and we're talking to you from the set of Top Gun Maverick. We're very proud to present Mission Impossible Fallout, and we want you to enjoy it to the fullest possible effect, just as you would in a theater. To that end, we'd like a moment of your time to talk to you about video interpolation. Video interpolation, or motion smoothing, is a digital effect on most high-definition televisions and is intended to reduce motion blur at sporting events and other high-definition programs. The unfortunate side effect is that it makes most movies look like they were shot on high-speed video rather than film. Now, this is sometimes referred to as the soap opera effect. Without a side-by-side comparison, many people can't quite put their finger on why the movie they're watching looks strange. Most HD TVs come with this feature already on by default, and turning it off requires navigating a set of menus, with interpolation often referred to by another brand name. If you own a modern high-definition television, there's a good chance you're not watching movies the way the filmmakers intended, and the ability to do so is not simple for you to access. Filmmakers are working with manufacturers to change the way video interpolation is activated on your television. giving you easier access and greater choice over when to use this feature. Meanwhile, a quick internet search should provide you with step-by-step instructions on how to quickly disable the feature so you can enjoy the movie you're about to see exactly as the filmmakers intend. On behalf of everyone who worked so hard to bring you the very best motion picture experience, thank you very much for this. Enjoy.
All right. So what exactly does that mean? I have a little example here. If it loads. Okay, so the left-hand side of the screen here is with this motion smoothing off. The right-hand side is with the motion smoothing on. We'll only watch a little bit of this, but especially in the scenes like the external car scenes, you'll see on the right, it looks, as if you were seeing it out on the street, whereas on the left, it looks like how we're all used to seeing a movie or a TV show. Hopefully, again, this comes through okay online. So again, it's up to you. If you like it on, then leave it on. But if you want a more classic experience, then it's best to turn it off. I know sometimes, even my parents, they'll get a headache if it's on, just because it's not what they're used to, and it's a little visually jarring. So can you tell from this? Yeah. So, all right, moving on. Thank you, Ryan Gosling. Okay, so prices. You can expect to pay for a smart TV these days, basically any amount of money from $300 to $3,000. And, a lot of the high-end TVs, they're not actually worth paying $3,000 over, some of the more value brands. So you'll see brands like Vizio, which is these days available just about everywhere. You'll also see TCL, which I believe is an Amazon brand. Insignia is a Best Buy brand. Those are kind of the value brands, but so they're cheaper. But if you look at reviews, both professional, like from Consumer Reports, or just anecdotal on websites like Amazon or Best Buy, they're fine. Like, you don't need to buy, a top of the line Sony, which is usually the most expensive TV. You'd be fine, if you're on a budget, or even if you're not on a budget, with one of these Vizios or TCLs or whatever. So, you can feel good about it. Samsung and LG, those are kind of the middle of the road ones. And again, Sony tends to be the priciest. There probably is some sort of difference. You might be able to see it, but generally, by and large, again, it's fine just to not spend the money. You don't need to these days. They're all pretty close. If you are wondering about, good TVs to get, you can go to Consumer Reports. You have free access to it with your library card through our website. There's a site called The Wirecutter that they frequently update their articles on, the best things. So they'll say, what's the best TV right now? And they'll say, this is the best one. This is the best budget one. These are the runner-ups. You can check that out. You can ask your local librarian as well. We love to look up different reviews for things, given, what you're looking for. You should buy TVs not just anytime you want. You should really look around Black Friday sales, around the Super Bowl time, or as I say here, the big game, so I don't get sued. Also, now these days, there's Amazon days, usually in the middle of July. TVs go on sale everywhere then, not just Amazon, but everyone trying to compete with Amazon. So, your Targets, your Micro Centers, Best Buys, they'll all usually have pretty big sales around that time. So if you can wait until one of those, that would be better off. And again, it really, what your preference is, what your budget is, how much space you have, just get something that fits all those things. You don't need to aspire to some grandiose TV. Just get whatever works for you. It'll be about the same no matter what. All right, before we move on to the next segment, I will pause and ask if there's any questions, either in the room or on Zoom. Feel free to pop them in the chat. Anyone here have any questions about the TVs? All right, seeing none, now we will get into external streaming boxes. So these are things like that you plug into your TV and do the same thing that a smart TV does, basically. So if you have an existing TV that is a dumb TV or not a smart TV, you'd need to plug one of these in to get access to streaming services. It needs to be plugged into the TV via an HDMI cable. And also it needs to be plugged in to electricity. So make sure you have plugs available. You'd also want to note which HDMI port you're plugging it into. You know, is it HDMI 1? Is it HDMI 2? Is it HDMI 3? Just because, you know, when you're on your remote on your TV, you need to go to that to get to see the picture from the external streaming box. And then, unless you have a universal remote, you'd need to switch from your TV remote to your external streaming box remote to be able to navigate around on there. Wait, I have a question that came in. Is there a way to update your app when it's not done by the manufacturer? I have a Samsung and I can't do it. So there is probably buried in a settings menu somewhere a way to do it. I can look if it's specifically a Samsung Smart TV. I would have to look that up. But if you want, you can shoot me an email. Just reply to the message that I sent out with the link to this, and I will find out how to do that, and I will let you know. Okay, so moving on. Popular streaming devices. There are about 4 major ones these days that people use. There's the Amazon Fire TV, which also known as the Amazon Fire Stick. There's the Apple TV, Google Chromecast, and probably the most popular, most well-known one is Roku. So we will get into the specifics of all of those, starting with the Fire TV. As you might imagine, this one is heavily integrated with all of Amazon's video content offerings. So that means when you boot it up, it'll show you a lot of their own stuff first, but you can still download Netflix to it. You can download Hulu to it. You know, you're not just limited to Amazon stuff. It has Alexa built in. So you can talk to it. You can say, hey, show, pull up shows set in Britain or whatever, and it'll search for you. It comes in stick form, and there's also a cube form. You can see them on the screen here. You can also put in apps. If you have Amazon Prime and back up photos to Amazon Prime, you can see those on there. They also offer games. The current gen supports up to 4K. And there are a bunch of different kinds here we'll get into, starting with the cheapest one for $20 is the stick. So that goes up to 1080p. So if you have a 4K TV and you get this cheapest one, it'll only show it at 1080p. So your TV will know to downgrade from 4K to 1080. That's fine. This one is the one that comes with the remote, kind of the top one there, with less buttons on it. You can get the stick with the fancier remote, which you can see on the right-hand side there that has more buttons for $25. And all that means is, you can see there it has a button that's a direct shortcut to Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever. So that is up to you if you want to spend that money to get faster access to those things. You can get a 4K stick, which is the same thing as the stick. It's just the picture goes up to 4K instead of only 1080. That will set you back $30. The 4K Stick Max. This is a new offering, and this is why people get confused, because there's just so many of the same sounding things. The 4K Stick Max is the same thing as a 4K stick, except it has Wi-Fi 6 built in. Wi-Fi 6 is the newest, latest Wi-Fi standard. It's very fast. Not a lot of people have it in their homes. If you just got new internet from somebody and they gave you, a modem and a router, there's a good chance it has Wi-Fi 6 built in. So if you're interested in taking advantage of that, you could spend $40 and get the 4K Stick Max. I will note, I recently bought one of the stick for an extra TV we have. I bought it during Amazon Prime days, and it was only $10. So again, you can see those sales. The cube, you can see the cube there on the lower left-hand side. That is kind of an external. It's a box, and it's a little cube, and then you hook that up to your TV. The sticks you plug directly into the port. The cube, you would use an HDMI cable to go from the cube up to your TV. So yeah, those are all the current offerings from Amazon. And this is what it looks like. They actually just updated their user interface because a lot of people thought that their old user interface was not good. It didn't look good. It was hard to get around. This is slightly better, I guess. Along the left-hand side, you can see kind of a vertical row of icons, a little magnifying glass, a little home. So that's how you would get around to search things, to get back to the home screen or what have you. Then kind of in the main area of the screen, by moving up or down or left or right, you could see things that you had previously been watching. And you can continue, like look at the next episode or whatever. Under that is where they'll you see their Prime Amazon Originals. It's showing you all their original content. And you can navigate around all of that. There is also a method on this to download Netflix, and then you can, it'll have little rows of icons and another row that's not on the screen here. So you say start Netflix, start Hulu, Disney Plus, what have you. The other thing to note is Amazon frequently, they do bundle deals where you can subscribe to one of these other channels through Amazon. I know we just on Amazon Prime Day again got 2 months of Acorn TV, which is British mysteries, through Amazon. And so there's a button on there. You could download an Acorn app and just pay for it separately. Or you can just subscribe to it through Amazon, and there will be a button on your Fire TV that lets you access all of those things. And sometimes there are deals on them. Yes. Okay. Did you get, was it one of the sticks? Okay, so yeah, you need to plug it into the TV in one of the HDMI ports, and then there'll be a little power cord to plug into the stick, and then you plug that into the wall or your power strip or what have you. Yeah, it's certainly possible. Yeah, I'd look into that. I don't, if you didn't hear the question at home, wondering if it's possible to subscribe to one of these services on its own and then again through Amazon. And yeah, you can. So, you just want to check in, because if you have like a standalone app for Discovery Plus and can log in that way, and you can also just go in through the Fire TV interface, they're probably double dipping you. So yeah, but that is something you want to be aware of. All right, next up is Apple TV. As you might imagine, this one integrates with the Apple ecosystem like iTunes and Photos and all of that. Instead of Alexa, it has Siri built in, so you can ask Siri to do things. Again, this will highlight Amazon TV and Amazon TV Plus content first, but you can download other streaming services. There it also has games and non-streaming apps, just like pretty much all these. You can look at the weather and whatnot. There are only 2 versions of this. The HD, well, I guess I should say 3. There's the HD, that's $150, so it's a lot more expensive than the other offerings, but I guess that is Apple for you. There is also the Apple TV 4K. The HD, of course, gets you to that 1080. The 4K will give you a 4K picture. That is between $180 and $200. The difference there is how much built-in memory it has, and you're probably okay with the cheaper version. And this is the Apple TV user interface. Along the top that's the different Apple offerings. So, you have photos up there, games, iTunes, the App Store, and specifically Apple TV. Underneath that, if we could navigate down there, it would show you, the different apps you have installed, like Netflix or whatever. All right. Next up, a Google Chromecast, and now Google Chromecast with Google TV. This one is probably the least popular of them. The original one, which is the little round one, the round black one down in the bottom middle of the screen, that didn't even have its own apps. It's a mirror basically. So you'd pull up on your phone, your computer, your tablet, the thing you wanted to watch, and then you would say, show that on my Google Chromecast, and then whatever's on your phone would pop up on your TV. The new one, which is the white one on the bottom right-hand side, shows you, it does let you put on apps. So you can download a specific Netflix app or what have you, more like the other ones. And you can also, the big selling point for this one is that it'll show you everything you have on the one screen. So if you have Hulu and you have Netflix, you can see all the shows from that on the one screen without switching between the 2 apps. This one has 2 different versions. For $30 gets you the original Chromecast, which is up to 1080. $50 gets you Chromecast with Google TV, up to 4K. So if you were dead set on getting the Google Chromecast, I would recommend the $50 one just because it's handy to actually have the apps on there, and you can see why. This is the old Chromecast interface. If you're on YouTube or whatever, you would click a button that says Cast to, and then you can see on the left-hand side here, say, oh, I want to give it to, my basement Chromecast or my living room Chromecast, whatever, and then hit play. Which is kind of cumbersome and not very user-friendly. But this is the new one, the Chromecast with Google TV interface. It looks a lot like the other ones. So easier to get around and actually play the thing you want to play without having to mess around with another device like your phone. All right, before we get to Roku, I will pause for any questions. And some water. Yeah. Question is, do you have to have Xfinity? To watch these streaming services, you need to have an internet connection. So whether that's Xfinity, whether that's AT&T or one of these new T-Mobile, AT&T mobile internet, whatever, you need one of those. So you don't need to have like if you have Xfinity that is internet and cable, you don't need the cable part. Yeah, you only need the internet part. If you want to watch cable TV, then you need both. But
so you could still get, as long as you have internet, not the cable box, you could still get these things on your smart TV.
correct.
So question,
Yeah.
if you have cable and the internet, I have a new Google TV with Google Chromecast.
Okay.
If I put in a channel number,
Hmm.
then I'm on cable, correct?
Yes.
If I don't put in any number, then I'm on streaming.
Probably. You know, I'd have to see the interface to be sure, but yeah, like if you're loading up something on Netflix or, you know, something that is not like putting in a number, then okay, then yeah, then that's all the streaming side, not the cable side. So yeah, it's a little confusing. So
Oh, one other follow-up then. If I have this new TV with the Google TV and the Chromecast built in, then I don't need a streaming box.
right, question, if you have a TV with it built in, do you need an external box? The answer is no. So like you have the Google TV, unless you really wanted a different interface, like from a Roku or something, then you don't need it. You could just use what's built in. Now, the Rokus. Was the original streaming box. You can access all streaming services from it. Doesn't have its own content arm it's trying to push on you. So it treats everything equally. The new ones might have games, but usually there's no traditional apps like, you know, photos or anything like that. This is for, you know, you want to watch these streaming services, this is what it does. There are a bunch of different ones, as you can see here. And it changes year by year pretty much. Right now, you can get the Roku Express, which does up to 1080p. That's $30. That is the one in the bottom right-hand side there. It's just this tiny little thing. You can get a Roku Express 4K Plus, which is $40. And the main difference there is that it does 4K instead of just 1080. If you don't want the little external box, you can get the streaming stick for $50. That is only in 4K. And of course, that is the bottom middle picture there, the stick. The 4K Stick Plus comes with a lost remote finder for $70. The Roku Ultra, that is the thing on the right-hand side, little kind of square rectangular box. That is up to 4K and has a lost remote finder. That's $100. Roku Stream Bar, which we will talk about sound bars in a minute, but that does streaming and it's a sound bar. That's $130. I don't have it pictured here. So the difference here, you might be wondering, you know, why would I spend $100 to get the Roku Ultra instead of just, you know, $50 for the stick? And the answer is speed, basically. So, you know, the Roku Express, it's fine. It'll display your streaming services and all that. The thing it will do is that it'll take a little bit longer. It doesn't have as fast of a computer inside of it. So, you know, you get something like the Ultra, it's real fast. You know, around Black Friday times, it's usually goes down to about $75, but then of course the other ones are cheaper as well. It also has a lost remote finder, which in my household we use several times a day. You know, these kids are always putting these remotes places we can't find them. So it has been like, I didn't need to get a new Roku, but Black Friday a couple years ago, I was like, I'm getting this one with the lost remote finder just because it seems like it'll make life a lot easier. And yeah, you know, there's a little button on it and you just hit that and then the remote starts dinging. And you know, you can find which couch cushion it's hidden in. So again, really any of these will do you fine. Like I said, I just got the cheapest Roku stick or Fire Stick, and I can definitely tell a difference. It's, you know, not as responsive, not as fast as the Roku Ultra, but for $10, it does what I need it to do, and it's absolutely fine. So it just depends what features you want. Again, you know, if you have a 4K TV, you'll probably want to get one that does 4K. But other than that, it's up to you. Questions?
Just what is someone who has no children?
Yeah.
What is the one you would recommend?
Okay, so what would I recommend if there's no children, the remote isn't being lost? If you have a 4K TV, I would recommend from this selection probably the Express 4K. Just because I don't know, I like the boxes more than the sticks. But it used to be that the sticks weren't as fast. They didn't have as good of innards as the boxes. These days, I think they've caught up. So it's basically personal preference. Like a good reason to get a stick is if your TV is mounted on a wall, because then you can just plug it in and then, you know, plug the power cord in. If you have an external box, you know, that's just laying there and you have to plug that in with a separate cable, and then you have another cable going into the power. So if, you know, if it's mounted on the wall, it can get a little messy. But if your TV is just on an entertainment center and that's not really an issue, then the box is fine. So but yeah,
The streaming stick, both of them.
yeah, either one would be fine. Any other questions about Roku models and all of that? Yes.
Is it worth it to replace a TV that you don't watch that often? Or are we getting the same thing as the upstairs with all the streaming built in?
Okay, so question is, should, you know, if you have an older TV and an older device, is it worth it to replace it? And usually the answer is no. Sometimes, like the first Roku we had was, you know, a little cheap model. And after a few years, it got like really slow. Like you could definitely tell when you're navigating around, when you're starting these different streaming services, it would take longer and longer and longer. And that, you know, that just happens with technology. As it gets older, it gets slower, probably because they've programmed it that way. So you buy new ones. So in that case, you know, if it's to the point where you're like, what is going on? This is taking way too long. Then you could, you know, upgrade. But if everything is fine, then you don't need to, because it all has the same offerings. It's just, you know, is it going to be faster or not? Pretty much. And the Roku interface. Mostly what you'll see here is, you know, on the right-hand side, all your different apps and streaming services. The left-hand side there, I don't know, I've had a Roku for years. The only places I've gone are home and, you know, the streaming channels store to download a new one. And yeah, you just use a remote to start it up. And then, of course, next you'll get the menu for whatever streaming service you started. Yes.
Get a Roku and plug it in, have it, and you don't have a cable box. You can't get any other channels, right? 2, 5, 7, 9.
Correct. So yeah, if you don't have, if you don't have cable or an antenna, which we'll also get to in a minute, you don't get your 2, 5, or 7. You'll just get streaming services. But there are some streaming services that do live TV, which we will talk about coming up. So all is not lost if you don't have cable. So some of the other hardware you might want, if you have some of this stuff, number one is a universal remote. That's, you know, like I was saying, you know, you might have to juggle your TV remote and the streaming box remote. If you don't want to do that, you can get a universal remote. Logitech Harmonies are usually the best, but they stopped making those, and I don't really know why. So I got, again, when I was hooking up our old TV to the Fire Stick, I got just a little $5 one off Amazon universal remote, and it's fine. So you just got to plug in the code. Antennas. We just had the question, you know, if you cancel cable, but you still want your network TV, your 2, 5, your 7, what do you do? The easiest, cheapest answer for that is to get an antenna. There are a bunch of different kinds. You know, there's the aerial kind you can put up on your roof. There's the rabbit ears. There's here, you can see it's like a little panel. You can plug that into your TV. Of course, you know, having an antenna on your house, that'll get you the best reception. When it's inside, like if it's the rabbit ears or one of these panels, you might have to move it around, you know, put it up higher, put it on the other, you know, just move it to see the best reception area. And then you'll get, you know, in crisp, clear, high definition, you will get all your local TV channels. Some of them might come in worse, like channel 2. The wavelength of that signal is such that, you know, if you're in a lower area, you might not get that as well. But the other ones you should be able to get, your 5, your 7, your 32, your 9 PBS. You will also find that there are like secondary channels for all of these. So there's like 5, 5.1, 5.2. They have different stuff on them. And some of it's okay. So you can check that out. A sound bar is for getting better sound. So a lot of these TVs these days, they're so thin that, you know, the speakers are, you know, they're not very good because they have to be so thin and positioned in a way. Sometimes they're pointing straight down, sometimes they're pointing to the back. So soundbar is something you kind of plug into your TV, you put it in front of your TV, and it's like better speakers that give you better sound. Some of them have subwoofers, so you can put that, you know, wherever you want in your room, and that'll bring the bass to you. You know, my wife hates ours just because it's another thing to control, but it definitely does sound better. Yeah. Does the antenna require a separate remote? The answer is you'd be able to control that with your TV remote. So whatever port you plug the antenna into, you just go to that one, and then you probably have to like a lot of new TVs, you search and like it'll go through every channel on the dial, and when it gets a signal, it'll know that there's a signal there, so you can like flip up and down without getting the static in between.
And the old TV replacement with the Roku, would a universal remote work, or you still need the Roku? For that, with that.
Question is, for an older TV with a Roku with a universal remote work? Yes, it would. So you would just get it, and then, you know, if it's the old fashioned kind with the codes, it comes with a big giant list on a big giant piece of paper of all the different things you can program into it. You just find Roku, and then there might be a couple different models, but in my experience, you know, one brand, they all use the same code no matter what. So you can just put that code into the universal remote, and it should control the Roku as well as the TV you program into it. So, all right. Moving on, you've got all this stuff. What do you do with it? And number one, you plug in your laptop so it doesn't shut down in the middle of your class here. And you use these streaming services. So we're going to talk all about them. They're kind of like TV channels. The content is mostly on demand. Release schedules for that content varies. There are a lot. I have here caution bandwidth caps. And that is, you know, particularly these days, Xfinity or Comcast, if you have that as an internet service, they put a cap on how much you can download each month. So I think these days it's 1 or 1.25 terabytes, which is a lot. But if you're streaming a lot of shows, it can add up. So there's a way, you know, if you log into your Comcast account, either on the web or on your phone, it will, it'll tell you, you know, you've used this much. Here's how much you have left. If you go over, they won't cut you off. They'll just charge you like $50 more for the month, depending. And then if you go over that, they'll charge you another $50. So you want to look at that. We finally just switched to AT&T fiber because they don't have caps. So it's fast, and we're in the western suburbs. So it just came out to that area. I'm not sure if it's out here in the Southland yet, but yes.
Would that bandwidth cap be on our Xfinity monthly bill?
Would the bandwidth cap be on the monthly bill? It might. It'll tell you on your bill, it should, like how much you've used. And it should have like a little chart, like a little graph, like, oh, you use this much out of this much or whatever. If you don't see it, I know for a fact, like if you log into your Xfinity account, it'll show you, or you could call and ask them. So just beware. Yeah, but you know, most people, you're never going to come close to the cap, but you know, if you're really on a roll, it might get to that point.
So AT&T fiber is
AT&T fiber is, yeah, I mean, we've liked it. It's fast, there's no cap, and you know, it's, I don't know if it'll stay this way forever. It's cheaper than Comcast at the moment. So yeah, Comcast, it had, you know, it's monopoly on this area, but starting to get a little more competition there. So in these streaming services are kind of like apps, like on your phone, but on your TV. Some of them, depending on the kind of device you have, you might be able to get, like I said, the weather, games, photos, stuff like that. So popular streaming services, and you can see some of these have some lines through them. That is just because they don't always stick around. So you see here CBS All Access, that actually became Paramount Plus, which in my mind, CBS is the, you know, more recognizable brand. I don't know why they switched to Paramount, but they did. DC Universe went away. HBO Go and HBO Now became HBO Max, which itself, we will learn, is going to go away soon. And yeah, the rest of these, we will get into what they offer, what they are. The first is Acorn TV. This is, I put this one in here just to show that there's a streaming service for everyone, pretty much. This one, it's available on all major devices and most smart TVs. It has a lot of British TV, so a lot of British murder mysteries, a lot of just British stuff. So if you're into that sort of thing, you can pay them $6 a month or $60 a year, and you know, you can get your fix of British TV. But there's streaming services like that for anything you want, like any genre, any country. You'll be able to find a streaming service that will get you what you want. Amazon Prime Video. This is one of the major ones. It's on all streaming devices. It has starting to get more and more original shows. So things you can only get on Amazon Prime Video, TV shows and movies. They have other stuff you can get on them, like that is not Amazon produced. That'll come in and out. New shows come in every month. New old ones go out. It just depends on their licensing deals and when they expire. It is included as a part of Amazon Prime. So if you pay for Amazon Prime, you automatically get Prime Video. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you can get Amazon Video for $9 a month. You can get, if you do have Amazon Prime, you know, which is the 2-day shipping, Prime Video, and, you know, a bunch of other little perks. That's either $13 a month or $120 a year. And if you have an EBT or Medicaid card, there's a possibility you could get it for $6 a month. That would be the video only. The $6 is for the video only, not the Prime. It is. It's included, but if you don't want the rest of Prime, then you can just get the video. So if you, that is correct, yes. So here, what I'm showing on the screen is if you have Amazon Prime, which is the $120 a year or the $13 a month, you get Prime Video with it. But if you didn't want, if you only wanted the video without all the other stuff that Prime gives you, you can do that for the $9 a month. So that is Amazon Prime Video. Apple TV Plus, this one is newer. It came out November 1st, 2019. Available on Apple TV and Roku and now on Fire. I need to update that slide. This does not have, stuff that is not produced by Apple. It only has Apple stuff. But Apple has a lot of money to throw around, so they have, a lot of big shows with big production budgets and big stars. And, a lot of them are okay. I've watched a bunch of them. Their release schedule is they put out 3 episodes first for you, and then week by week they add 1 more episode until the end of the season. This one is $5 a month, and you get 3 months free with a new iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple TV, whatever. It used to be a year free, but they have since limited it to 3 months. And you'll see here, a lot of these, it can add up. So, if you have Acorn and Amazon and Apple TV, that's, it's not a lot, $4.99 a month, but if you're paying $4.99 a month for 5 different things, it can add up. So what we have been doing in my house is we'll wait. We'll when a new season of something we want to watch comes out, we'll subscribe for that month, or we'll wait for it to go so that it's all up. Subscribe for a month, watch it, cancel it, wait until the next thing I want to watch rolls around, and then resubscribe. So that helps so that you're not subscribed to all these things at all times, paying all this money. Paramount Plus, formerly CBS All Access. This one is available on all devices. It has every CBS show ever aired, over 10,000 episodes from classics, black and white TV to modern day. They also have a lot of original programming, like if you're into Star Trek, all the new Star Trek stuff is on, it's not going to be on CBS on, cable TV. It's only on Paramount Plus. And, they have more stuff like that. They also have shows from whatever else Paramount owns, like BET, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon, Smithsonian. They have a limited amount of live news and sports. If you are into that, they usually just release 1 new episode per week of their original programming. And you can see here, you can get it with or without ads. So $5 a month if you want commercials, $10 a month if you don't want any commercials, and then you can get it in yearly deals as well. Crunchyroll, again, this one is just to show you there's a streaming service for anyone. This has just anime. It is wildly popular and successful. People really love their anime. It's $8 a month, so if there's something you want or something you like, again, there's probably a streaming service out there for you. Yeah, you just have to search for it. What's that? What is anime? It is like the Japanese animation type stuff. DC Universe, Farewell, that had a bunch of, DC Comics, a bunch of stuff like that on it. They shut that down. Discovery Plus. So this one has all your shows from Discovery Channel, of course, but it also includes the Discovery umbrella of brands like HDTV, TLC, Food Network, etc. This one is $5 a month or $7 for no ads. And I said earlier, the HBO Max is going away. That is because HBO's parent company recently merged with Discovery's parent company. And for reasons I don't really understand, HBO is going to be folded into Discovery Plus. So, if you asked me, would you rather watch a show on HBO or Discovery? I would probably say HBO. But whatever corporate think went into this, it's all going to Discovery Plus. So that is set to happen sometime next year. It'll be nice on the one hand, because if you want both Discovery and HBO, it'll be combined into one thing. So you won't have to pay two separate fees for it. But, this is just another example of this changing landscape. So, companies are always buying other companies. When they do, sometimes they keep things the way they are. Sometimes things get shut down or merged. For some reason, Discovery Plus is going to be the lead thing with this next year. So yeah, look out for that. And Disney Plus, this is the latest kind of big one. This came out again, 2019, late 2019, available on all devices. There's a lot of stuff on here. So all Disney movies, all Disney shows, going back from the very beginning, available on Disney Plus. Now, of course, Disney also owns Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, all of that. So they have a lot of just a lot of different stuff. But there are changes coming to Disney Plus as well, starting December 8th. Right now, Disney Plus does not have any ads. You can get it for $7.99 a month or $80 a year. Beginning December 8th, you can still pay $7.99 a month, but then they will show you ads. Or you can pay $11 a month without ads. Or you can bundle it. And we will get into that in a moment here. ESPN Plus is part of the Disney, ESPN, Hulu trinity of services. This again, it has live sports, original ESPN shows. And so if you're into sports, this is one you might like. This one is $7 a month or $70 a year. But like Disney Plus, it's having some pricing changes. Starting August 23rd, it's going to be $10 a month or $100 a year. Hulu is available on all devices. As I say here, it's great for cord cutters because it has not only original shows, but it has a lot of TV shows from other networks. So, your ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, usually, and this can vary again as these little contractual deals keep going or expire. But usually the day after a show airs on, broadcast TV or cable, it'll show up on Hulu. They also have, expanding catalog of original shows. They also have a lot of anime. If you're into that, you don't have to get a separate Crunchyroll subscription. They also have a Hulu plus live TV option that lets you watch live TV channels, and you can record some of it if you like for up to 50 hours. Right now, you can get Hulu with ads or without ads. With ads is $7 a month. No ads is $13 a month. Hulu plus live TV. This price keeps going up. I think when I started this, it was $45 a month. Now it's $70 a month and includes Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. If you don't want ads, it goes up to $76 a month. And when I say ads for these sort of things, they tend not to be your normal broadcast or cable TV commercials. there's a lot of pharmaceutical ads. So like, just, a lot of people being really happy going through life on boats or on the beach or something because they've all taken this drug. It can get to be a little bit much, to the point where, you might say, I'm willing to pay an extra $6 a month just so I don't have to see this ad again. But so I mentioned Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, Hulu are, they're all owned by Disney. And yes,
When you say live TV, that does not mean local live.
when I say live TV, it doesn't mean local live. Not with Hulu. Some of these that I'm going to talk about do have local. The Hulu does not. Hulu is getting a price increase as well. Starting October 10th. It'll go up $1 or $2, depending on if you want ads or don't want ads. So not terrible. The Hulu Plus Live TV. That is. Okay, this is where it's starting to get confusing. I spent like an hour trying to wrap my brain around all this when I was updating these slides. So let's go to the next one. These are all owned by the same company. They're doing bundles now. So you can, all three of these are owned by Disney. Right now, you can get all three of them for $14 a month. Starting December 8th, it gets all weird. You can get Disney Plus and Hulu with ads on both of them for $10 a month. You can get Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus with ads for $13 a month. Where it starts to get more confusing is you can get Disney Plus with no ads, but Hulu and ESPN Plus with ads for $15 a month. Or you can get Disney Plus and Hulu with no ads and ESPN Plus with ads for $20 a month. It's very confusing. I don't know. I don't think this is going to stick around for a long time because I think there's going to be a lot of people confused about it. You can still subscribe separately to each of these with or without ads, depending on your preference. But you can get a deal if you bundle them together. I don't know how successful they're going to be getting people to do these bundles because, I'm really into this stuff and I think it's super confusing. So if you only have a passing interest, I'm sure it's even more confusing. So I'm going to pause here because that was a lot. Is there any questions about any of that? All these streaming service stuff, it's kind of in a big experiment on, what'll people do? What'll they watch? How much are they willing to pay? And we've kind of come around to the, time where they're going to experiment with, do people want ads? Do they not want ads? Are they willing to do this, that, and the other? So time will tell if it gets simpler in the future or even more convoluted. I guess it just depends on how the market reacts to stuff like this. So
Question, I downloaded something called Pluto. Is that worth anything?
so the question is the Pluto streaming service worth anything? It is worth it if there's stuff on it that you want to watch. So that's the same thing with any of these. Like if there's stuff you want to watch on both Disney and Hulu, then it might be worth it to you to get, one of these bundles. Because getting the bundle is cheaper than getting them separately. Same with anything else. Pluto, I've never used it myself, but it's been around a long time and I know it's pretty popular. So if there's stuff on it you like, then yeah, it's worth it. It's all in the eye of the beholder, basically.
So how do you get one?
How do you get one?
Download it and then where do you pay? How does it?
So you get it by, on your whatever device you happen to have, there will be like a store and you go to that store, you look up, say it's Netflix. You look up Netflix, you download it. There are two ways to subscribe to it. One, you can launch it from your device and using your remote, put in your name, all that stuff. I don't like doing that. So you go, you could go to netflix.com on a computer and then there, click subscribe and then put in all your information there. And then on the TV, when you go to sign in there, it should show you a little code. And then from your computer, instead of putting in like your email and your password on the TV, you can go on your computer to the website, put in the code that shows on the TV, and then it'll just log you in there on the TV. So you don't have to mess around with that. It depends. So you get to pick, which plan you want. Like here, all these different, you wanted the Disney and Hulu, you could select that. And then some of them have annual payment options, some of them have monthly payment options. So yeah, you just pick that out when you subscribe. I should say not all streaming services have that where you can log in on a computer and then just put in a code. Some of them you do have to put in your email and your password on the remote, and it's very frustrating. Okay, HBO Go and HBO Now, those were the two HBO streaming services a few years ago. They were all folded into HBO Max. I just don't get it. HBO Max is one of the best streaming services going today. It's got a bunch of, everything on HBO, all their old shows and movies, everything that they, goes in and out of HBO, like as if you'd have it on cable every month. They also have their own original shows. It's merging with it. They're sending it away, and I just don't get it. So this one right now, for 1080 signal, it is $10 a month or $100 a year. For 4K, it's $15 a month or $150 a year. It's free if you have an AT&T cell phone, internet, or TV, which is not a bad little perk. But again, merging with Discovery Plus in summer 2023. We don't know yet what the pricing will be for that. They haven't announced that. Why did it switch? I'm gonna go ahead and close that off. And sorry, we're having some technical issues here. All right. Go ahead and stop sharing. Go away. Current slide. Okay. Sorry, folks. Get back to it here. Okay. And we're back. Okay, so yeah, HBO Max, they have a lot of original shows and content. It is usually pretty good. I think these prices are like cheaper than if you had cable and added HBO Max per month. But I am not 100% sure anymore. But anyway, so yeah, I should also say if you have cable and you have HBO, then you get HBO Max as well. Or you can just subscribe to it standalone. Now, Netflix, kind of the gold standard of streaming services. It's available on all devices. This one has a lot of different TV shows and movies. They have a lot of original TV shows and movies that, a lot of these, when they first came out, they were just kind of okay. But these days, the Emmys, the Oscars, a lot of shows from Netflix, from Amazon, from HBO, they're getting nominated and winning awards. So, it's not just, it's good quality stuff they got on there these days. So the Netflix model is when they release a new series of a show, all the episodes are available right away. So you could watch it all in one day if you wanted to. And then, wait 2 to 3 years for the next season to come out. They are adding an ad-supported subscription tier sometime in early 2023. We don't yet know how much that is going to be. Right now, like up to now, they've never had ads on Netflix. Their pricing structure is there's 3 different ones. So you can have basic, which is non-HD quality, and you can watch it on one screen at a time. That is $10 a month. Can't imagine non-HD quality in 2022, but you can have that if you want it. They have their standard package, which is HD, so that's up to 1080p. That is good on 2 screens for $15.49 a month. And when I say 2 screens, I mean, if you're watching Netflix on your TV, on your device, someone in another part of the house could be watching Netflix on their iPad or their computer, Then you can get the premium tier, which is up to 4K quality, and you can watch it on up to 4 screens at the same time. That is $20 a month. When this ad-supported tier comes out in 2023, they may change the other prices as well. We just don't know yet. Moving on, Peacock is relatively new. It is from NBC. So this is kind of like Paramount Plus, in which it has all the old NBC shows and movies, and as well as the new stuff. It also has some Peacock only shows. It has some limited live TV events, depending on your subscription tier, which is, you can get, this has a free tier. So it has ads, and it gives you a lot of the NBC back catalog. It does not have any new shows or any of the Peacock original content. There is a $5 a month tier, which gets you, all the old stuff, plus new shows and movies and the Peacock original. If you are subscribed to cable TV through Comcast or Xfinity, which owns NBC now, you get this tier for free. Or if you happen to know someone who subscribes to Xfinity or Comcast, you can get their Comcast password and use it yourself. For $10 a month, it's the same thing as the $5 a month, but there will be no ads. And you can also, if you're going on a trip or something, you can download a show to your iPad and watch it on the road. Speaking of password sharing, places are going to start cracking down on that. Like I know Netflix has announced, you can pay, they know, if you're sharing your password out, because they can see where people are logging in from. They're gonna, again, probably around the time that their ad-supported tier comes out, they're gonna start saying, oh, if you're sharing your password, how about you give us an extra $2 or $3 a month, and then we'll be okay. So look out for that to expand to more places as well, I am sure. PBS, this is another one. All your PBS shows. This includes live local PBS, as well as, Chicago PBS has a bunch of different shows, like Check Please and all that other PBS regions don't have. This will let you get that as well, as just, their standard Masterpiece Theater, stuff like that. They have a free tier where you can watch shows that are currently on PBS. So whatever Masterpiece show happens to be on, now you could watch it on the free tier. But you could not watch one, that already ran. If you pay them $5 a month or $60 a year, which they describe as a donation to PBS, you can watch all shows, not just the currently running ones. And when a new show is coming out, like All Creatures Great and Small, you can watch all of them at once. You don't have to wait per week for a new episode. And again, there's live local PBS. Philo, maybe it's Philo, I don't know. This one is a cable TV replacement. So this is $25 a month. It has live cable TV channels. but it does not have local channels. It has 64 cable channels. You can go to, philo.com. You can see which channels it offers and see if there's any you really want. And then you can balance like canceling your cable and getting this for $25 a month. PlayStation View has gone away. Sling television is another cable TV replacement. This also does not have live local channels, but it does have two different packages. One of them is 32 channels. One of them has 42 channels. Those are each $35 a month, or if you want 50 channels, which is the two packages combined, that's $50 a month. So again, you can go to their website, Sling TV, and see what is in the different packages there. If there's something you want, you just get the one that has most of the shows that you want, or channels you want, I should say. YouTube TV, yet another cable TV replacement. This does have local channels. It has 85 plus channels, including various cable TV channels and local channels. It has unlimited virtual DVR recording space, so you can just record and then play back as much as you want. This is another one where the price keeps going up. This one also a couple years ago was $45 a month. Now it's $65 a month. So it keeps creeping up. But if you really wanted to get rid of your cable, it's still probably cheaper than cable and internet. And again, you can go to YouTube TV's website to see what cable channels they offer. Places to look for deals. A lot of streaming services go on sale between Black Friday and the end of the year. You can check with the services themselves. So like Netflix, not Netflix, but like some places, they'll have sales or promotional events from time to time. So, if you're a new subscriber, you might be able to get it for 2 months free or 2 months at a reduced price or something. Amazon, the Amazon Video app offers a lot of deals as well. Again, around Black Friday or Amazon Prime times, they will be able to show you, you can get 2 months for 99 cents or something. So that's where to look for that. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. So these are some upcoming classes, but any questions either online or in the room? I know was a lot to throw at you, but yes. So the question is, if you cancel your Prime and then resubscribe around, Prime Day or Black Friday, what, will they give you a discounted rate if it's on sale? Usually these sort of things are for new subscribers only. So if they don't want you to take a second bite of the apple there. So yeah, you can always try it. Yeah. I guess you could use a different email address to register the account and get the discount that way. But it is up to you. Yes.
So I'm a fortunate senior that won a Google TV with Chromecast.
Okay.
And I'm trying to understand what is all included on that. In addition, I have the cable TV hooked up as well. Is there some good person out there who says, "Oh, I'll come to your house, Mrs. Senior, and help you figure out what you've got"?
Question is there anyone who would come over to your house to kind of walk you through it, show you the different content? I don't know of anybody.
Squad.
Yeah.
We understand your problem, but it's not.
Yeah. Geek Squad doesn't do it. Sometimes we send people over to the Computer Greeks on Harlem there. I don't think they'd do something like that. I think, I guess, if you have specific questions, you can ask us. here at the library. And we can kind of point you in the right direction. But if you have the Google Chromecast TV, you can get any of the streaming services we talked about today. And then, you also have the cable component too. So anything that's on cable, basically. So, and again, it's just like, you have to look through the offerings on each one and see if there's shows or movies on there that you're interested in. All right, no problem. These are all on our website, so you can go month to month through the website. I think out there right now we only have through September on paper, but they'll also come to you in the monthly newsletter as well. Does the library offer a workshop on identifying internet providers and/or on options for bundling cable TV or internet? We don't. I know we have an internet basics course. I don't know. I don't think it includes that sort of thing, but we're always looking for new classes. So that sounds like a pretty useful one, actually. So thanks for the suggestion. Look for it soon. Or, if you have specific questions again, and we don't offer a class on it, you can call, you can email us here at the library at the public services desk, and, we're all big nerds, so we know how to answer these kind of questions. So feel free. But other than that, seeing no other questions, thanks everyone for coming. And again, any questions about any of this stuff or anything else, feel free to reply to the email I sent with the link and everything. But thanks for coming out on this lovely Monday afternoon.
Sometimes it's like, you don't need them all, you're watching heavily one and you haven't watched the other one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't need them all, at least all at the same time. Like, no problem. Yeah, that's what we do lately. When something new comes on we want to watch, we'll resubscribe, and then when it's over, cancel until the next time it comes around. And oh yeah. They don't, I think it's like a convenience thing where you don't have to, you can just do it on your own. But I think the thinking is Amazon's like, oh, you can do it through us, and it's easier. Right. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Well, thank you. Very good.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.